You throw over $1,000 a month into local wishing wells.
Of course, you idiot, because I'm wishing for more money.
This is the Keeping Your Money Show with Jamie Westenberger and Bart Steidler.
All right, welcome back to Keeping Your Money Show. Jamie Westenberger joined, as always, by Bart Steidler. We've been talking about 401ks, cybersecurity, all kinds of other good stuff. Again, I'd just like to thank everybody that came out to the golf outing last week. Phenomenal turnout. Raised a ton of money for two awesome organizations, I Understand and Kids Food Basket. Lots of thanks to all of our sponsors. They're all on the website. We could list them all off. Wenzel, Todd Wenzel, with donating a car that we tried to give away, but nobody could get the hole-in-one. And tons of other sponsors out there, too. Ross Kylan, Steve Broll, accounting. And
Ross Kylan's law firm.
Yep. And many others. We really appreciate it and appreciate everybody participating and coming out on another great return. So, and we can't forget Emily Repke, who donated all of the water bottles, which, of course, comes in handy when you're golfing all day. So much thanks to her, realtor with Mitten Real Estate. And also, she happened to help me buy my present house and sell my previous house. So she does an awesome job. So thanks again to everybody for that. Want to remind you, if you ever want to join the conversation, you can do so by phone at 888-98-MONEY. That's 888-986-6639. We do not take calls on the air, but someone does answer the phone 24 hours a day, and someone will get back to you shortly. You can also email us, info at keepingyourmoney.com, and I do respond to those emails personally. So there was a special column type article in the USA Today a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to address it, not because I'm saying that everything in this article is necessarily true or I agree with it 100%. This person, Nancy Tengler, does a lot of analysis in her article about why today is a good day to buy stocks. And what I wanted to talk about with it instead is the overall concept that you have to do all this analytical basis to decide whether you want to buy stocks or not. Because the reality is, unless you're, a couple years from retirement, the answer is when somebody says, is this a good time to buy stocks or to buy into the market or get involved in, overall investing? The answer is yes. This idea of market timing, this idea of, well, we're about to be in a bear market, so everyone's sit in cash and wait, that was the attitude in January too, and we've gone pretty well since then. This idea that you're supposed to time when you buy and sell, that's propagated by national media that has nothing better to do than have an entire show on a daily basis about buying and selling. It really misses the boat that the best you can do is get invested, stay invested, invest more, contribute regularly, and in 30 or 40 years, when you get close to retirement, start to dial back your risk. And I mean, that's kind of the recipe, and the recipe works pretty well. Like, we don't have to screw with the ingredients that much.
Yeah, it's interesting because you'll see an article like this, and it talks kind of about market timing and now is the time, and maybe now isn't the time will be another article. You give me any given day and give me about 2 hours, and I can go out and find an article that is going to tell you to do this, and I will find you an article that will tell you just the opposite of what the article I found told you. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that is so confusing to so many people about investing their money for retirement. And I think it causes a lot of people just to stay on the sidelines because they read one thing and it says go, 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 and they read another one and it says stop, stop, stop. And they look at the two, and maybe they have a bias towards one particular person that they read because they like the way they write, or maybe they sprinkle in some political opinions that agree with you, so then you also agree with their investment opinions. A lot of them do that. Or a lot of them will kind of invest in the negativity that some people feel all the time, and will highlight the things that are so terrible that are going on in the world and saying this is a reason not to invest now.
Right.
And so it goes on both sides of the ledger.
Well, you always have the perma bears and the perma bulls.
Right.
You have the people that in January of 2008 were expecting a 12% return that year. They couldn't have been more wrong. There are well-renowned analysts that in the middle of the crash of 2008, when we were down about 15%, came on TV and said, I think we've reached the bottom. They were off by about 12 months. You know, there are also people who hang their hat on the fact that in 2008, they correctly predicted that the market would crash. They also incorrectly predicted that for 15 other years. You know, I mean, so this idea that you're supposed to, as an average everyday investor who's working a full-time job and raising a family and mowing your lawn on the weekends and going on vacation and trying to actually enjoy your life, you're supposed to be breaking down, you know, economic data on healthy consumer spending and corporate debt and trade wars with China and bombings in Iran. I mean, there's no way you're going to successfully do that. And I think it goes back to what we were talking about a little while ago on the show earlier today about the idea of why so little participation exists sometimes in 401ks. I think this plays into it. This plays into the idea that you don't want to be the idiot who invests right before the next market crash, but we have to ignore all of that noise and realize long term, obviously, history is not guaranteed to repeat itself, but historically, if you get involved, you're better off than if you don't long term, period.
Right. So choosing not to invest, you're actually choosing to have probably much less money in retirement to be able to live on. Because historically, having some sort of investment program that you regularly put money away to and that you don't flip in and flip out of the market. Because another point, too, is when you flip out of the market, a lot of times you're going to miss the days that are going to that the sum of those days are where the bulk of the gain is going to be
Sure.
in that year. It's not necessarily if there's a 12-point gain in the market that year that it was 1% in January, 1% in February, and on through the rest of the year. A lot of times that 12% gain happened on 8 days of the market for the whole year.
Well, a perfect example is, I mean, and this is a rough number, don't quote me on this, but the S&P is up around 20% this year to date. Okay. In what year have we seen that much more than 20? I mean, 20% is a pretty heavy gain, right?
Yes.
Now, a lot of that is generated from December. Many people saw 15 to 20% losses as well, right? But if we look on it purely on a calendar year, it's very rare for us to see a 30, 35% kind of return year. So if you were waiting to make sure that December was a fluke, and today you're looking at now getting invested, the reality is, in all likelihood, you potentially have missed out on a lot of 2019. I mean,
Yeah.
you missed out on a good portion of at least the positives, right?
Yes.
You could even be potentially getting in when the rest of the year could go bad. You could end up losing money in a year where the average investor did quite well, simply because you're trying to market time. The flip side is you could have got in late December in the midst of everyone telling you stuff is terrible. And instead of saying, I'm going to wait, say, I need to invest because I'm systematically doing this. I'm doing it for the next 30 years. What the market is doing today means nothing to me. And you would be up 20% from then, right?
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
And I think the best line for that, Warren Buffett made a statement that I love. And he said, I don't understand why everyone gets, and I'm not quoting him, so no quote marks here, but generally speaking, he said, I don't understand why everyone gets so wrapped up in the day-to-day volatility. If I were investing for the long term, which I am, I would love to see my portfolio go down every day until the day I retire. And then I would like to see it go up, because every day I'm buying more. I'm investing more. If it's cheaper tomorrow than it was today, that's a win for me, because I don't need that money for another 20 or 30 years. And that's really how we all should kind of be looking at it. Like, if you lost 10% in your portfolio, yes, it stings, but you're not going to use that money for another 25 years. Instead of being upset about the loss, let's consider the fact you're now buying at a 10% discount. That's a win. That's a win.
Right. So if you're a long-term investor, look at things for the long term If you're a short-term investor, maybe this isn't the place to be.
Right. And I think it can be highlighted in, and I wish someday, I almost think it would be great if there were like a reality show about financial advisors. You know what I mean? Like getting people's permission to come in and maybe you blur their faces or something. But the stuff that we see that I wish other people could see, we see successful people come in who literally have never opened their statements because they just are savers. I see people with great incomes come in who have severely hurt themselves in their future because they've tried to be market timers. I had a guy come in a couple weeks ago, been with the same advisor for a couple years. The advisor goes in and out of the market a lot, which is just the way they do things. This person's average annual return for the last 3 years has been negative. That shouldn't be the case. The last 3 years have been pretty okay, but if you're going in and out and you're missing the important dates, it really can be detrimental to you. If you need a second opinion or maybe you need a first opinion, feel free to give us a call. We'd love to sit down and talk to you about a good long-term strategy to help you get towards retirement. The way you do that is give us a call. 888-98-MONEY is the number, 888-986-6639, or shoot us an email, info, that's INFO, at keepingyourmoney.com. Coming up, we're going to talk about the volatility, the trade wars, everything that has to do with dividends and dividend stocks and all of that good stuff right here on the Keeping Your Money Show.
The ups and downs of a roller coaster are fun for some people, but maybe too nerve-wracking for others. The same is true for the ups and downs of the stock market. If your palms sweat when the market fluctuates, it may be time to reevaluate your investment choices. The ride to your financial future shouldn't keep you awake at night. Call the Keeping Your Money Show at 1-888-98-MONEY to get off the roller coaster and onto solid ground.